Bagfuel, baby.
What you think about all the stuff, all the heat that Fat Joe is taking? He took a lot of heat.
I feel bad because Fat Joe,
and now he's saying people trying to extort him now.
Yeah, nah, I feel bad because Fat Joe is a good friend of mine. Fat Joe, he'll tell you. I know Fat Joe from day one, before he had a record. He was coming to my office, knocking on the door, saying he just wanted to say that he knew Ralph McDaniels. And he'd come to my office and he would sit there and he'd be like, "What are you gonna do today?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm not
How
sure."
the fuck he had time to go talk to all of y'all?
Bro, he would get on the train, come to 1 Center Street, downtown Manhattan from the Bronx, and hang out with me in my office by himself. And then he would go back to his block, he'll tell you this, and say, "I was with Ralph McDaniels," and the people on the block be like, "Oh, man, you lying, you ain't know no Ralph McDaniels." And then one day, I let him host the show. I said, "Joe, just say this." And that's how people believed that he was with me. And then he did a promo for Red Alert, got a Flow Joe, and that became a record that Chris Lighty got him a record deal. And then I didn't do the video for that, but I did a couple of his other videos in the beginning. So I know Fat Joe from the bottom. No fly shit. He talk about he drive around and fly shit. That was right before you got a record deal because I was with you when you have no fly shit. And this is now people tell him like it questioning his authenticity. That's the last person you should check on his authenticity. There are plenty of people just because he's Latino that you think that every black person is authentic. You crazy. These dudes is out here fronting all day. So just
horrific.
Yeah. So just don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah, Fat Joe talks. He's a great storyteller. So people get excited and want to question him on everything. He's a good guy. Just look. Everybody got their shit about them. I got my shit. Esso got his shit. We all got our shit. It's come on, man. This is not.
Why you always throwing me in the negative shit, man?
It's easy work.
I be online. I be on. Before I come up here, let me see what's going on with these guys.
And then be like, oh.
Yeah.
And then,
Go on, no, you can't.
I'm just having fun.
Nah. Look, man, we all, look, we work. We work here to entertain. We have the ability and we've been put in positions to be around things that people like. And we present it. And that's it. And then we go on to the next thing. And hopefully we can make a couple of dollars out of it. And that's it. A couple of dollars. It ain't like Jay-Z money. It ain't Eminem money. It ain't whoever money. It could be. But for right now, this is what we do.
What's the effect that the Jordan sneaker you think had on hip hop?
Big time. Jordan was, it was us seeing. We had access to something that was cool, and the hood and the drug dealers. You gotta remember, the drug boys was the first really rocking certain things.
Because they had the money.
And they knew where to get it. Like we didn't really know certain places. You had to know, you got to go to this spot.
In Brooklyn, you can get the suede Adidas over here in Brooklyn.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
So you had to know. And that gave you clout. Because you was wearing, first thing people, now, soon they see you, they probably look down at your sneakers. That's what, you see them when they do it, they don't even realize
we both got on Jordans, that's why I asked you, because we both got on J's, different,
and, the
same
first
style,
thing,
but
when I saw
color.
you, when we came up in the room, in here today, I looked down, I was like,
they got some J's.
So what the fuck are those?
You know what else? What does Spike Lee mean to hip hop?
Big time. Spike Lee and I feel like Spike and myself came around the same time when we started doing the visuals, and Spike was doing movies, and he was telling our story, like for real, telling our story in a cool way, like you weren't scared, and maybe some people were scared the Spike story, but he's a great American storyteller, and he does it in movies, he does it in the commercials, he does it in what he wears now. He's a pretty cool guy.
He transitioned. Did y'all ever work together?
Nah, never worked together. Spike could see me some days and be Ralph McDaniels, and then someday he walk right by me. But
that sound about right.
Chris Rock did that to me.
Chris Rock won't do that.
Chris
to me.
Rock walked past me. I was coming down.
I mean, he could.
I was walking past Atlantic and Chris, well, right past me, and he had sunglasses on. I said,
You know who you are.
he said maybe he had sunglasses on because, but listen, I was on the boat with Puffy. We was in what's this shit? St. Bart's.
You said what?
We was all in St. Bart's for a New Year's Eve, and we all was us, Russell, Rihanna.
I wasn't there.
He said I wasn't there.
Russell, Rihanna. It was mad people. Fucking Leonardo DiCaprio. We all on the boat. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like Chris was just like, "Oh, yo, Randy, what's up?" And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, that's how these dudes do.
Yeah, but
I was like,
you know what's funny? All these Jay-Z's done that with you.
Yeah.
but I changed my hair a lot, so I must say that. So now,
Jay be like, oh no, and they be like, you're rare.
yeah, but see, I changed my hair a lot, so people think that I look different. God bless the dead Clark Kent. I remember I said it to Clark. I was like, yo, Clark. I said, yo, Clark. I was just making sure that you remember me because I look different. He's like, Randy, you still look like Randy. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
I love Clark.
So that was Clark. You know
What's a dope Clark story to close this out, man?
Me and Clark used to do parties together. So I'm doing a party in this place called the Mark Ballroom, which is in 14th Street, Union Square. It was like a spot where you could rent it out. So I gave mad parties there. First time you saw Tribe Called Quest, you know, Biz, Koji Rap, all these parties, and Clark was always my DJ. And then we started getting, the first time we met Nas and all of the dudes from Queensbridge.
Yeah.
So Nas would come and it'd be all these dudes, like they all was young little dudes, right? And I'd be like, oh man, here come the Queensbridge. Something's gonna happen. Because they rule, it's like 30 or 40 of them. And they just moving, looking like, buy a drink, do something. They just moving around. And I'm like, so all it takes is one person they bump into and it's gonna jump off. So I'm like, Clark, play some music, man, that'll just get everybody excited and shit. Because that's how we would get around it. Turn up the music, and people start going.
And they said, "Oh,
right.
All right." That's how you get them. You start the vibe, like, "Oh, all right."
Clark know that shit off the top of his head. We'd be like, "Oh, turn it up, turn it up." Or if it got too hyped, then we got to bring it down, bring it down.
Yeah.
So Clark understood the music for the hood, you know.
How ill was he inside the party? Because I heard the later Clark, because I'm younger, but in the essence, in that time, how ill was he?
No, he knew the core, especially in Brooklyn, the core of what Brooklyn hip hop was. You know, like everybody, like Big Sound, J Sound, you pick him, Chubb Rock, you know. Group Home, you know, these are all what shaped that sound. So you had to manipulate old records, right? Get Money. That's a song that Clark was playing. The sample was a song that Clark was playing for years, that sample. Little Kim songs, you know, these were original records that Clark was playing. They all said, oh, we're gonna make that, we're gonna loop that, and we're gonna make that into a song. So Clark kind of shaped these new artists, like especially Jay.
You think he gets the credit that he deserves for what he?
No, I think Jay
gets more
probably,
credit for his fashion.
Like Clark. You know, I heard Jay was like just hung out. You know, and I'm pretty sure nothing was paid for. I'm pretty sure of that. You know, if Jay was there, you know, we're gonna take care.
Jay gave Clark a job. I remember Clark was doing something. Jay gave Clark a job.
Yeah,
and Clark had some budgets and some.
Yeah,
and
so vice versa. You know, like when Jay was in the group with Dame Dash group, what's those guys' names? Can I Get Open? You know, then Jay-Z was featured on that record. That was Dame Dash's group. And that's how Dame and Jay become a group, a partners. Okay. And then Jay got his own deal.
Clark put them together. Is that Clark?
Clark was the A&R at Atlantic.
Got you.
So Clark gave the deal to Dame, and Dame
put Jay on the record.
Right, yeah. And that's how that all comes about. But, you know, Clark was telling them, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. Well, you could produce it. All right, I'll produce it. I ain't producing everything because I got other shit that I want to do. But I'll help y'all. And so he was feeding whatever he felt was from the street.
Golly.
Yeah, you know, like I tell people, look, man, I tell people, artists now, I tell them things, they're like, I don't know. I'm like, my dude, look, I'm not trying to tell you because I feel like talking to you. I'm telling you because I know from fact this is gonna work. Now, if you choose not to do that, I'm not mad at you because you your own man. But I'm telling you, you should do this.
Those are the
You're
niggas
not
that think
gonna
they know
lose.
music. Those are the ones that think they know the music business. That I started off asking you about. Like, how do you deal with the niggas that
No,
think they know?
it's I get it. You know, people have their own ideas in their head, but that's not the music business necessarily. That's what dudes on your block do. And that's when you're listening to whatever, you gotta make a song or something that sounds like a song, a verse and a chorus or something that we
Structure.
can send to somebody and say, this is what this is. Because if you don't come with that, nobody's gonna get it. And nowadays, shit,
You don't even
you
gotta,
ain't gotta do that.
Yeah.
You just gotta have a good sound.